1 year ago today, I posted my first YouTube video. I was so new to it, of course it was my first one, that I didn't even know how to mute a clip after you speed up, so watch this. Now I'm going to just fill them up. Always work with a towel underneath because soil, so embarrassing. But I have come a long way and I'm very grateful to be doing this video here celebrating the 1 year anniversary of this channel. If you're new here, my name is Mari and I am gardening and cooking in New York City. And I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you a little bit more about my story and why I decided to start this channel to begin with. Just to give a little bit more of context, you might notice that I have an accent. I am from Brazil and I moved to the US 12 years ago. And I'm also a professional cook. I went to culinary school in Hawaii and I worked in professional kitchens for over 8 years. One of the reasons why I started gardening was because I was already into food and I really enjoyed eating fresh, beautiful vegetables. And before the pandemic, as a professional cook, I never thought I would have time. It's very common for cooks and chefs to work 12, 14, 16-hour days. We always work on the weekends. I always worked late nights, so I was always exhausted when I was home. So I never thought gardening could be a reality, even though I come from an agricultural family and I grew up going to the farm as a kid and loving the environment there. But since culinary school, I've always lived in small apartments, so I never thought gardening could be a reality to me until the pandemic happened. The last day I have worked in a professional kitchen was actually on my birthday on March 14, 2020. I was scheduled to work on that day and I was off the next day on Sunday because the restaurant we used to work at closed on Sundays. And then on Monday, the governor of New York put a mandate telling that all restaurants have to close. Soon after that, I received the email, as have all of my other co-workers, saying that they'll have to let us go. So it was really hard for me to take it in and to kind of believe what was happening. On top of that, my partner Danny, he has a lung condition and he had surgery on his lungs in 2019, so we were very worried. At least I was very worried about him too when this all happened. So he has a family house upstate and we decided that it would be safer for us to go upstate since I had lost my job and he's a teacher. He could teach remotely. So we went there and that's when my gardening journey began. I decided to buy my first seeds and we were watching videos on how to make raised beds and how to start gardens for the first time. Tried to find a lot of information online. At that time, I figured out how to find out about my zone in my last frost state. So upstate where I was considered zone 4B and the last frost state there was May 15th. And I started watching some YouTube channels and putting the garden together and the garden started to grow. Once I harvested my first peas and my first lettuce, I was so thrilled. I thought this, I don't know what's gonna happen next after this, but one thing that I know is that I have to have a garden. And Danny was really having a lot of fun out there too. We were building things together. We spending a lot of time outside. I was cooking all the meals inside. It was a very small town, so there were not much food options. So I was cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, and I loved it. It was so good. We were saving so much money with food. We were eating better. We're feeling better. And then we decided that we'll have to look for a place and go back to the city. And I was very scared because I really, really want to keep gardening. I was like, this has helped me so much through these hard times. I really wanted to keep doing it. The most joyful time of the day for me was waking up at 6 a.m. when everything was quiet and still outside, and I'll go out and check on my plants while the sun was rising. It was just brought truly so much joy to me, and I knew that in the city I wouldn't have the experience. I was close to that, but I felt that if I could at least grow a few things in some pots and pans and had at least a little balcony, I would be happy, because by then Danny and I decided that that's what we wanted for our life in the future. When we can, would love to move to places a bit farther away and have a house and a backyard that we can have a garden and have a family instead of being locked up in this tiny apartment in the city. So I decided that was crucial that I kept learning about gardening. Even though I thought I was doing amazing that year, I didn't harvest that much, but for me as a beginner, not knowing much, it was incredible. After that, things kind of just started happening. We were moving back to the city. At that time, a lot of people had left New York, so they had a lot of apartments vacant for a really good price. So we were able to come back here, and one of our main things were that we wanted to have an outdoor space. And then we found out that there were a few available in our price range. I now was looking for guidance on gardening in New York City. YouTube was the greatest source of learning for me at that time. And I just couldn't find anything. I was just so frustrated. I was like, I can't believe there are no gardeners in New York. There must be people growing food in New York. And there must be more people that got interested just like I did. And I'm sure they exist, you know, but at that time the algorithm kind of only pushes you to really big channels, so I couldn't see them, or I didn't think they existed. So I decided to create my own channel. I was like, you know what? Since I can't find anybody to do this, and I'm just going to do a channel myself. I know that I do know a lot, and I know that I'm still learning, but maybe watching my journey and watch me grow can also help them in their own gardening, and can also put me in touch with the community where I can get advice from people too, or have constructive conversations. And that was the main motivator for me to do it. A few weeks later, I posted a video outside showing my front yard, which by then I only had a front yard. That's crazy to think about it now, how much my garden grew in a year with things just kind of happening, coming to us. When I started the channel, I only had the little front yard in the front. I had no raised beds. I built my raised beds in March and only had one green stalk. And I was already thrilled and so happy that I could have some space to grow something. But lots of things changed along the way. If you have been watching for a while, you have been seeing the growth. One day I was out and I think in March or in April, doing something in the front yard, and then one of my neighbors stopped by and said, hey, I want to talk to you. He's like, I have a garden, a plot garden that belonged to my dad when he immigrated from Italy here. He used to grow a lot of food in there, but he's not here anymore. He has since passed, and I don't have time to use it or to plant a lot of things. We've decided to keep it. It's still there. If you want to, I can see that you know what you're doing. I'll let you garden there. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? He's like, yeah, if you have some time, we can walk by there and I can show you the space. You can do whatever you want there, and we can just share the harvest if it's okay with you. He's like, of course it's okay with me. I went there, I talked to Danny. I was like, Danny, you can't believe this happened. You know, this guy just stopped by, and there's this huge plot around the block, and we're super excited. I have a little video here you can watch on how we amended and how we prepared the garden for planting. I have learned a lot more after that has happened. I was reading a lot about gardening at that time, and I was very enthusiastic, so I did what I could with the best knowledge that I had at that point. But after that video, I found out that I had to add some extra compost because the plants were not growing as well. But still, the plants did better than I thought they would, now that I look back through the whole season. And then by the end of the year, one of our neighbors decided to move, and our landlord said that we could move here, which is in the same building which we love our neighborhood. And we moved to this unit that has a backyard. And not only that, my landlord said that he liked my garden so much, and they saw how much joy it brought to people that walked by, that he said that even though we have new tenants in the front, I will still be taking care of the garden. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So I'm still going to be planting a few things on those 2 raised beds that I have built. So here we are, 1 year after. It's February. I now have 3 places to garden. It's kind of wild to think about it. It started with a little dream of having a patio in the city, and now I'm really humbled that I actually can garden to the extent that I do. I know this is not usual in the city, so I truly am very grateful that I have this space to learn and experiment. If those good things happen to me, it might happen to you too. You never know. I have now connected to a lot of neighbors. I have had help in the plot. I have so many people this year especially offering to help, and a lot of people want to learn about gardening, so I'm very excited to actually have some more people joining me, some neighbors, some people in the community, and that they can also feel a bit more connected to nature, feel a bit more grounded like I feel when spend some time in the garden. And I'm very excited for this year. I want to also thank you so much if you've been here since the beginning. I am so happy that the channel has grown a little bit. I have now over 300 subscribers. I know that I'm not growing as fast as many YouTubers out there, but my goal here is really to try to help people and to share my journey and hopefully inspire other people in the city to grow food as well if they want to. And with that said, I also want to take this opportunity to talk about something that's a little uncomfortable to me, which is asking people to like and subscribe to the channel. I sometimes do that in the end of my videos, but I really don't like doing it. I myself had no awareness that liking a video and subscribing to a channel can really help the creator until I started my own YouTube channel. I have watched countless YouTube channels and YouTube videos before without even pressing the like button or subscribing to the channel, and it does really help. I am trying to make an effort to ask more this year. I love doing YouTube and sharing my journey. This is really something that brings me so much joy. I love spending time in the garden, and I love recording and bringing you guys along with me. I would love for the channel to take off this year. It would be a huge milestone because I feel truly connected when I'm doing this. Even though it's hard, YouTube is like a full-time job. It takes time planning the videos, getting your equipment ready, filming the videos. It takes me so long to film. I'm gonna put some bloopers at the end of this video today so you see actually what I'm talking about and how long it takes me to edit as well, because I'm gonna remove all of that. And then having to go through YouTube and uploading process and all that stuff. I don't want to bore you guys with that, but just saying that please support the small creators. If you like their channels, if you subscribe to them, they have a higher chance of having the videos that are relevant to the people that want to see, to be shown to that people. So same thing with me, I'm making an effort to say like and subscribe, because many people don't know that by you subscribing to my channel and liking my videos, you are just helping other gardeners that are in the place that I was, that were looking for videos in their region and they couldn't find it. And I would love to see some of these people discovering the joy of gardening too. Gardening has helped me in so many ways that I cannot even describe. It not only helps with my mental health, because honestly it was really hard during COVID for, I'm sure, most of us, and having that little alone time in nature in the morning was crucial for me to keep going, to stay motivated. And if you're growing food, you're providing for yourself, you know, you're being more sustainable, you're cutting your carbon footprint, you're trying to localize the way you eat. You will develop great appreciation to your farmers once you discover how hard it is to actually keep your plants alive and keep them producing and have a good harvest from it. You care about where your food comes from. You will feel better because the food that you eat that's harvested close to you has a higher nutritional value. It's just a ripple effect of positive things. So my mission for this year is to encourage and inspire more people to garden in big cities, and I really hope that I can do it through the channel. If you can help me out with that, like this video, share any video on my channel with someone, a friend that you think would be interested, I would be super grateful. And please leave comments, constructive comments, suggestions. I am very open to learning and to growth, so I love to hear what you have to say too. Thank you so much again. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. I still felt that and that's about asking people to like, and I have added, and I have not with my very small kitchen. I can being once spring came and the